Since the initial release of the Blackstone Pizza Oven earlier this year, I've had a lot of followers waiting for this review. The big selling points include an auto-rotating 16-inch pizza stone, an overhead pizza stone for better ambient heat, and a much faster preheat time than their previous models. There was a lot of hype for this oven, but unfortunately, I'm going to rain on the parade a bit. The oven and cart are shipped in the same 140-pound box. This spells for a bit of a disaster. My box had some damage and a bunch of tape where it may have been ripped at one point. The oven itself wasn't damaged, but I noticed a random screw laying inside. I figured it was an extra for setting up the cart, but it turns out it actually fell out of the framing during shipment. Moving on to the cart, multiple pieces had small dents in them. Nothing major, but still noticeable, and a bit frustrating when it's a product that costs $800. Also, there were no instructions in my box. With all these issues, I emailed Blackstone to see if this was maybe a returned item, but they reassured me that they do not sell returns. The cart setup seemed to take an eternity, but it is straightforward. The metal framing is really fragile as separate pieces and easy to bend, but once it's properly screwed together, it results in a solid, sturdy stand. The oven is then placed on top of the stand and screwed in place from underneath. Toss in a few batteries to power the stone rotation and burner ignition, and we're set. The rotation feature works excellent. With a push of a button, you can start and stop the stone at any time. The Halo Versa also has this feature, but I have to say the Blackstone seems much more responsive when hitting the button, and sturdier when launching or retrieving the pizza. Up top, you'll find a second pizza stone. Blackstone markets this as providing better ambient heat to cook the top of the pizza. Personally, I'd rather have a product that offers a bit more insulation in the top dome instead of a pizza stone. But the burner is absolutely insane. Underneath the pizza stone is essentially a flamethrower. It looks a lot like the Gosney dome burner, except this pumps out faster. It's definitely the loudest burner on any pizza oven I've tested. Take a look at this chart. The Blackstone Pizza Oven reached 950 degrees Fahrenheit in a record-breaking 20 minutes. At 30 minutes, it was at 1,066 degrees and still climbing. This is the first time ever that I actually turned a pizza oven off early in my tests. After letting it cool off for a bit and letting my mind wrap around what just happened, I figured the next best course of action is to measure it again, but on low flame. Because at this point, I'm wondering if baking a New York-style pizza is even possible at such high temperatures. And again, with an impressive display of heat-based performance, the Blackstone kept up with the leading pizza ovens while on low flame. This is easily the hottest oven I've used, so I figured it's natural to test out Neapolitan pizzas first. As I prepped my first pizza, the oven creeped over 1,000 degrees again. This pizza baked in 40 seconds. However, I mainly had to pull it out because the bottom was burning a bit. I actually turned the oven off as I prepped my next pizza. By the time I returned, the stone temperature was 852 degrees Fahrenheit, which is perfect for my liking. I fired the flame back up, launched my pizza, and cooked it for exactly 1 minute. This was a really solid bake. Some parts of the top crust could have used a little more color, but I'm really happy with the results here for not having to turn the pizza once. The hardest part is keeping the oven at a low enough temperature to cook at, because it seems like it keeps creeping up beyond target. With most other ovens, you can find a sweet spot with the flame adjustments to keep it at an optimal cooking temperature. For the Blackstone, keeping the flame on low between bakes works the best for Neapolitan, but I can already see a major problem for New York styles. I sometimes use a Lloyd pan pizza disc. It's basically a pizza screen, but smooth metal with holes in it. I don't use it for the whole bake, just long enough for the dough to set up before I can slide the pizza off and directly onto the stone. This is just a little hack to avoid launching a 16-inch pizza onto a 16-inch round stone. So, I gave this a shot for my first pizza, tossing it in when the stone temp read 985. Right away, I noticed the flame from the burner creeping up and catching the edge of the crust on fire. So I turned the flame down to low to finish the bake off, and kept in mind that I might need to aim for a 15-inch pizza next time. But I noticed the top was cooking way faster than the bottom when using the screen, so what worked well for the Halo Versa oven did not work at all for this hotter oven. I tried another pizza by launching it directly onto the stone at 857 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, I had to shut the oven off to achieve this. and in 70 seconds it was done. This is just way too fast of a bake for a proper New York-style pizza. The edge of the crust even resembles a Neapolitan, complete with some leoparding. Now, I could obviously launch when the oven reaches 650 or 700, but the window in which it stays at that temperature is so small that it seems ridiculous. Maybe if you only plan on cooking one pizza every time you fire this up, then that will be fine. But it's too much work trying to turn the oven off and back on to maintain that low of a temperature while prepping your next pizzas. It seems like a chore to use, constantly fighting with the temperature to keep it low enough, whereas something like the Unicaru 16 is incredibly easy to maintain proper temperatures for multiple styles. I'm a bit old school and like turning the pizzas myself, but I have to say, Neapolitans actually cooked pretty well in this. I could even get some solid leoparding on the crusts, which surprised me, since the burner is underneath. But I just don't see why I would choose this big of an oven just for Neapolitans, when smaller portable options exist that perform better. I know Blackstone brand has a pretty big following, and I'm a fan of their flat tops, but I hope I don't cause too much strife with this review. It's big, it's expensive, and it's too hot.